Hi everyone, and welcome to another video in our Klevu Partner Spotlight series with Vaimo. I'm Chris H. I'm the Global Head of Customer Success at Klevu. To those of you unfamiliar with Klevu, we're an AI-powered product discovery platform. We connect shoppers to products on e-commerce websites via search, category merchandising, and product recommendations. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Georgia Barry, who heads up the UK consulting team at Vaimo. We'll be discussing customer success and the impact it has with our client relationships. But first of all, Georgia, why don't you quickly introduce Vaimo and some of the work that you do?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So Vaimo is a full-service digital partner. We work with our clients on full digital transformations, and that's everything across experience, managing content, and ultimately building out their commerce solutions. We get involved from the consulting side all the way through to discovery and then ultimately to delivery, and then supporting our clients on an ongoing basis to deliver their BAU and their roadmap ambitions.
Perfect, thank you. So obviously talking about client success, I think lots of different companies have customer success in different ways. How do you measure customer success at Vaimo?
For us internally, we use the NPS system. So every 6 months we send out NPS surveys to all of our clients and really want to understand what is the potential for them to recommend us to other clients and prospects. And that's the most important thing to us, is that if our clients are happy, they would be happy to recommend us to other potential clients too. In order to drive that and make sure that we get the NPS results that we want, we have what we call the Client Success Program, which is an internal sort of framework that we've built out. We have dedicated growth consultants that work with our key clients on a regular basis, and we have a framework that we follow some activities against. And some of these activities are things like making sure that we have a key account person that is assigned to that client and is responsible for driving these. Often it's the growth consultant. It's really about making sure that we're having regular engagements and that those engagements are meaningful between us and the client. We are understanding their short-term goals and their long-term roadmap and where it is that they're trying to get to ultimately. Really important that we also cascade that information back internally, and that our delivery teams, the people working on the code and ultimately delivering the experience, understand what it is the client is trying to achieve. We can also do things like work on building out scoreboards, which we share with clients. In some instances, those can be fairly exhaustive. In some instances, they're fairly, we identify 5 key KPIs that we want to keep track of together, and we make sure that we monitor health on those. But it's really about just making sure that we're aligned in our ways of working and that we both understand what that North Star is and we're all working towards the same goals. But we use that program internally to drive that. And then weekly, we make sure we have internal check-ins to monitor the progress to that. And I think it goes without saying, face-to-face time and spending a bit of time outside of work is also really important for us. So we like to make sure that we've had at least one social event where we can sort of spend some time together and get to know each other outside of day-to-day calls and Zoom and chats and things.
Sure, I guess it's one of the things kind of coming out of kind of post-COVID, which is kind of one of the nice things we get back to do with our clients is actually kind of doing the face-to-face meetings instead of the Zoom. And I take your point. Yeah, I think that's kind of a critical thing to form those key relationships with the clients is really vital. I guess kind of customer success, we're often seen as very much the post sale, but I think there's one of the biggest challenges certainly I think we find with regards to customer success is the initial onboarding of new clients and kind of getting them onboarded and to first value as fast as possible. What do you think the biggest challenges you face when you're onboarding new clients?
Some of I guess if I think back and some sort of common patterns and trends that I see is sometimes clients don't necessarily see the immediate value of spending time understanding their as-is situation. A lot of them have, they live in that situation every day. They know it very well. For us at Vaimo, when we get involved with clients, we start to onboard them. having a clear view of what their current pain is, whether that sits within their business or with their customer. It's really important for us to start to plan that roadmap of how we get them to where they need to be. So we like to start off by understanding what is the current situation we have today, what are the pains around that, what are the opportunities, and how can we build an effective and an optimized path to get them where they need to be. I think with that comes a human challenge as well. And it sort of goes back to, I think face-to-face, it's much easier to build a rapport. It's a bit more tricky over Zoom calls. And when you're bringing large groups of people together, I think there can be some challenges. It takes some time to get settled down and for people to become comfortable with each other and build trust. But I see, within a week or two, that usually is fine. And we're back to normal, kind of pre-COVID, when we had the opportunity to meet face-to-face several times before we got going with the project. But yeah, I think it varies from client to client. And I think that the as-is piece, understanding where the client is right now in order to build that path of where they want to get to is something that we spend time with, making sure the client understands early on in the relationship.
Yeah, and it seems kind of pretty self-explanatory. If you're aligned on your goals right from the start, it's kind of much easier to work together to get to them. So yeah, fully understand that. At Klevu, and I guess at Vaimo as well, we have a range of clients. We have lots of different verticals, lots of different sectors. Massive swings even within individual sectors. Fashion, for example, and fast fashion to high fashion. How do you measure the success for a client, given swings like different conversion rates, different average order values against those different verticals? How do you kind of measure that for a client?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So each client has a different definition of what success looks like to them. And we, as part of that CSP program, we make sure we understand what that means. What are the success criteria? And for some clients, they're more concerned with the customer experience and how their customers are feeling about their site, about their brand, about the experience, more so than sometimes the financial metrics like conversion, AOV, etc. So we try to work with our clients to define the best set of metrics that they should be monitoring, and the best KPIs to make sure that we are actually tracking the success that we want to see. It's really difficult to get good, clean, consistent data out of systems, as we know as well, and that can sometimes pose a challenge. So one of the recommendations we make is to really focus on those core metrics and KPIs that mean the most to you and that align with your strategy, as opposed to trying to measure and monitor everything and sort of get paralysis and looking at loads of dashboards that really don't actually give you, clear, actionable data. Rather have, 5 crystal clear dashboards that give you exactly what you need to know, and you can take action from that. But yeah, I think our recommendation, I've seen lots of clients trying to monitor too many different criteria and then sort of fall over and need to reduce that so that they can stay focused on the real prize. But yeah, it really varies. And I think particularly conversion rates across industries and depending on the site, depending on the product ranges, etc., can be a bit tricky to compare across clients.
Yeah, and I think certainly in the sales cycle, people get very focused on what will be my conversion rate uplift and things like that. I think one of the things we find is it's more the ancillary things. People on a website, they're finding products quicker. It's they're not relying on help centers and call centers. They're getting information. They're finding it's that type of experience that's not really measured too much, but more anecdotally that I think they find once they're live, they kind of see that uplift that maybe they weren't expecting. So I guess kind of the final question: what you want it to ensure that success of your clients?
Yeah, really good question. I think in this world, there's so many things to do all the time, and there's so much changing in the market, so much changing in client expectations. And I've worked now in Vaimo for about 5 years, and this message feels consistent to me. It was the message we were using 5 years ago, and even now we still use it. But making sure you have a really good search on your site is one of the key things that you can do to get your experience as optimized as possible with very minimal effort. Most customers will go straight to the search if they're not finding what they need in the navigation. It is your fail safe in the event of broken links, broken pages. And it can really be a big saving grace if you factor it in early on and prioritize it. So we always try and make sure that our clients prioritize having a good search, and we push them on that as well, and finding a really good partner that can help them achieve what they need to in terms of search optimization, like a Klevu, means that we have happy customers, and that means happy clients for us, which makes Vaimo happy and Klevu happy as well.
Perfect. I could not have put that answer any better myself. And yeah, I think it really is one of the things when we look at, conversions and, the customer journey. Once they find what they're looking for, they're so much more likely to convert. They're so much more likely to buy. And again, it's all about the experience. If they're happy with the journey, they're clicking on products, they're buying them. It's a good experience for the client. So yeah, thank you for your time today, Georgia. I think that's been really insightful. I hope it's given our viewers a bit of food for thought. Stay tuned for other videos in the Klevu Partner Spotlight series, and make sure you reach out using the link below to get the conversation started around how we can help you improve your e-commerce business.
Thanks, Chris.